I said it's like a important thing for writers to always have a pen.
Always have a pen.
You never know.
Yeah.
No water in between us.
Okay. Hey, mind your business. Brandon, mind your business. You see? He's a good boy.
So is Brandon a service dog?
He was a gift from
Small water brand?
my oldest daughter to my youngest daughter for Christmas 2 years ago.
Two cool cats or what?
Bottles and James.
You drink? Might be a little early.
I haven't had breakfast. I only had my coffee and not breakfast.
So we just kind of met. Would you call it randomly? What
Oh,
would you call it? Our meeting.
oh, it was universal energy that brought us together, just in that one wrinkle of time, which was only moments ago. Stop mid stride.
I was, I think, drawn to your energy as well. Yeah. I mean,
Yes, that was instant. That was instant, and it took a moment for me to click, click, click.
you stopped and we talked a second and you kind of kept walking. And I said, I noticed, I guess that we had a similar, limp.
Yes, that's right. The limp brought it on. Yes,
That's your name, so
Joell. Yes,
Joell.
sir.
And so we're neighbors.
Yes, we are neighbors.
I've met some pretty amazing neighbors. I think just walking around the block like you have.
Yes,
I think one of my focuses on how amazing the people in Louisiana, in this region are. Like, we have like so many talented people.
that's right.
Like, he's like a celebrity chef.
Wow.
So we were talking about, like, my granny was in World War II war bride. Like, she has a cookbook. So I did a feature and he did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah. So like he calls himself Chef Soul City. He just like started a food truck like locally. So he's cooked for the Saints, he's cooked for the Pelicans, like some rappers and stuff like that. Just the experiences you had were so cool. Like,
That's right. In the French Quarters, a child. My father said, "Just go, let him see, let him explore the world."
and what kind of stuff would you see over there?
Oh man, I guess you would say adult stuff. No, just noticing so many different people from so many different walks of life, and just in that point, in that time, there was absolutely no racism. There was just people.
Mhm.
It was just a whole bunch of different people, and that was an eye-opening experience to say, because it was just people hanging around people, which is still the same thing. We're all here to have a good time, no matter your race or age.
Yeah.
We're just here. We're here.
I mean, differences are important. Like I love diversity. Differences in culture, things like that. Like, but like, what brings us together, right? I mean, like, what are the things that like are similar between us? Like, we have the same emotions. We have the same instincts.
Right.
We love food. I mean, like,
That's right. That's
you
right.
know-
Good food. It's universal.
I mean, like gumbo. Like, where you at? Like, well,
Right.
baseball. Like, win.
Right.
Like, how can we get together and do so well in sports, win a national championship in football? People from all different backgrounds. How can we do that? And how can we not do other things? Like, right? I mean, like, how do we come together better as a people, as a race, like a human race?
Right.
I think we can do so much better. I mean, I think we get caught up on differences, and at the end of the day, no matter your background, no matter where you're from, our similarities are greater than our differences.
That's right. That's right. I believe that if we can see one another, or we could be this close to one another, our lives aren't that much different. If I can see you in the same place as me, there's not much that separates our
Right.
circumstances, and it's just sometimes we just got to sit and talk about that, and that's a big thing. We just don't take that moment out to say, hey, maybe I should have a seat.
Mhm.
Maybe I should have this drink of water, and maybe I should have this conversation.
Right.
And sometimes the uncomfortable one. Let's just talk about it.
I like the word that you use to see each other, because that is the root of respect. is to see someone in their full being.
That's right.
And like you said, you have to stop. I mean, people are like so busy today. I think that is one of the hearts of our problem is like we don't take the time to
Right.
stop and speak to each other like we used to, maybe, right?
That's
like,
right. Because we feel that we're being rushed and we have to go and we have to hurry up and we have to. And maybe we just have to sit down and take a chill pill. Let's just sit down and remember that we're not robots. We are human. And let's just take that moment out to have the human experience.
And that was one of the things the pastors talked about was like, he had gotten upset when people, and he was thinking about what might be going on in each person's life that no one else knows about. Just take the time to feel those things. I don't think we really want us today.
Right. Yes, that impact. The impact of feeling someone else's, angst sometimes.
One thing I liked about your energy was like, I could tell you that ability to look at someone else's perspective. I think that's something that comes with maturity, right? Like kids don't necessarily have that ability to put themselves in someone else's shoes, right?
Right.
That give us that ability to be empathetic, to understand what someone else may be going through. Just talking to you, I can tell you've had like so many amazing experiences. Just saying, like 6 years old in the French Quarter,
right?
Than what
right.
It'd be easier to list like what you didn't see than what you did see.
Right. That's right. And for the most part, it was civilized because we're still talking about the '80s. Late '70s, early '80s. Just let them loose, and it was just about. I guess our culture in New Orleans. That's what it's about, the culture. You go to Second Line, it's strictly about the culture. We came here.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the culture. And we had those moments. We can see and not see. And for the most part, all adults are still respectable,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to children. Hey, that's a kid there, watch him out. Hey, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easy to say that, and it was easy to take that in,
So you say you grew up in like the 7th Ward, you grew up some in Treme, you were in Treme some.
Yes, 6th Ward.
6th Ward as
yes,
well.
Sir. Yes, and and moved across the city. Mom's had us across the city from uptown to downtown. Respect is universal. It's a universal thing, and you bring it to get it, and not necessarily to get it. You bring it to show forth who this is who I am. I'm respectable. I don't want any trouble.
Right.
I want to respect you because you may have something interesting to say.
Mm-hmm.
You may have that seed that reignites an energy in someone else, and you can't find that from anything else but respect.
Right. So I guess like the saying would be you give respect to give respect.
That's right.
Yeah. But we know that people are not always respectful.
Right.
I guess maybe reaching here, like maybe discrimination as well would be a form of disrespect, a severe form of disrespect.
Yes, it's a form. It is definitely a form, and that just comes from our perceptions. Mm-hmm. Our perceptions can be different.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's how life trials can make us perceive things in a different manner.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that like once someone has an idea about how something is or how someone is, it's extremely hard to get that person off of that idea. Like they have to have an intense emotional experience to get themselves off of this original idea that they have about someone or something.
That's right.
It's like someone has this experience and they're like, oh, I get it now. Now I understand.
Right. And that's from, I guess, how to say, lean not to your own understanding. So what you've seen and understood to be this really isn't.
Right.
And now that you've had this encounter, hopefully, at some point it will change your mind.
That reminds me of spirituality, spiritual growth. Like, have you had some important spiritual influences in your life?
Oh, many different ones, and I just take a piece from that. My pastor, Ronald T. Williams, he was a shining star of my life. He's gone now, but there were different things because he's the man that baptized me while I was a grown man. I'd never been baptized. Just opening up to him and listening to this man, I was like, oh, this is a whole different way of me thinking. I didn't see it that way, but since I was open to that, and I just didn't see things one-sidedly, he was able to bring me in and baptize a grown man.
Wow. And where was that? What was the church?
This was in Baton Rouge. Yes, Mount Carmel Baptist Church. I had another great example of life. A gentleman out of Donaldsonville, and he was an older guy, and Mr. Donald, he had the patience of I couldn't even understand this man's patience and wisdom. And I did a report on him and the things that he had gone through, and just listening to him, having a chance to listen. It's like, well, I didn't see it that way. But since I was able to sit and receive this message from this man, like, wow. And, the experiences in life, there's so many awesome people. There are more awesome and amazing people than there are bad,
That's a question that I sometimes would ask my students is like, if you could put a percentage on the people who are trustworthy in this world, like what percentage would you give? Like what percentage of people are trustworthy? But I think kind of what you're describing is a level of spirituality which rises you above, common perceptions, above maybe ideas of good and evil, and just a general acceptance of humanity, a spiritual person, transcending our bodies, transcending the struggles of humanity, reaching a level that's almost Christ-like,
That's right.
almost Christ-like in acceptance of trials and people who may be accepting your betrayer, right?
Yes, definitely.
Forgiveness, right?
Forgiveness is very important, Oh boy, forgiveness. It's very important. I forgave the man that hit me. I had a chance to have an intimate moment, with the love of John for another man, to have a real forgiving experience to the man that
you met him face to face.
Took my life. Yes.
And that was 13 years ago?
Today? Yes, 13 years ago today is when the accident happened. And then I guess 2 to 3 years afterwards, I had a chance to meet him. And yeah, he apologized and I forgave him. And that's just what it was. It was a weird meeting. It was in a time and space I didn't expect. But to have a grown man say, I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't mean to. And to cry with a stranger, because I was hurt, I was hurt because my life from that day that he hit me, even up until now, 13 years later, it's totally different, But once I forgave that man, it did something different for me, It made me a better person and an unexpectedly better person,
How do you think you were able to do that? Because I don't think everyone can do that, right? I don't think.
I was in a place that I could be only there. So since I was there and totally in that moment, thanks to the Power of Now is a book that I read, and understanding the now, and I knew that power was there. So it's like you have the power now to either do this thing or that thing. So let's
that thing would have been choke about. I mean, we're only not. It's only human nature, right? I mean, that is.
We want to get our get back at any moment. I mean, you did this to me, and this thing, I feel this way about this, and I don't think you should.
Yeah.
No, that's not my control. That's not my controlling point. That's not who I am. I'm still human, and I'm a human being. But in that being, it's not up to me to decide another person's fate, and to understand that an accident isn't an on purpose. And
Right.
there's a big difference. So,
I'm still saying I'm thinking easier said than done. Easier said than done to forgive someone like that.
right, it's easier said than done. That is to forgive. Especially a drunk driver. To forgive a drunk driver. You know, that means I had to have I had to forgive his decision on that day to have that drink, because I don't know what drove him to have that drink and get behind the wheel of an '88 Lincoln Town Car and hit me in my home at 80 miles an hour. I don't know, but unless I had that moment to receive that and listen, you know, to heal myself, I would have never known. But it is, to forgive can be a hard thing, but the other side of that, it gives you so much more gratitude for life itself,
Yeah.
to forgive, because that's the only path forward. And Christ taught us that. Christ taught us that.
And I think I know like a lot of people out there are struggling with similar things, right? Like maybe trying to forgive that person who caused the hurt in their lives. So you might, what might you recommend to that person if they're just struggling with it to like take that next small step forward to do that?
Be there, be present, and just know that in order for you to heal yourself, you will have to forgive. Your oppressor, your whatever it may have been. Because if to forgive is to move forward, and to not forgive, you'll be there in this dark place. And if you want to experience that light of enlightenment,
Yeah.
that's that enlightenment moment. And that's for no matter what it is. You will have to be present in that moment, and you will have to make a conscious decision to say, this will not oppress me or depress me anymore. I forgive you for who you are, what you've done, although I don't know the circumstances of how we have gotten to this point. For you to hurt me or feel hurt, but I have to let you know that I am hurt. I felt hurt, but I am now moving forward from that pain. So I forgive you. Doesn't mean we're going to sit down and have a Heineken later. Not at all. But it only means that now I'll have the universal respect for you that you didn't have for me at that moment, at that one wrinkle in time that we experienced, and then move on. It's behind you now.
Like we were talking about trust a little while ago, and another thing that the pastor said was like when someone hurts you like this, like as people, we put on like our armor, right? Our body armor. I'm gonna protect myself from being hurt again, right? I'm gonna
Right.
like keep this on. Which I mean, we need armor, right? I mean, because
That's right.
we don't want to be hurt. It's not good to be hurt to a level where you're, continuously injured. So the armor serves as protection, but then also like to move on with your life, like maybe you have to shed that armor at times, or like this man, you shed your armor and you saw him as a human being. Who to trust, how much to trust. Maybe like what comes up for you in your experiences when I say that.
Let's trust in the spirit. You have to trust, and that goes across all religions, whatever your denomination or whatever your religion, your spiritual nature, that spirit. You listen to that spirit, because your spirit will guide you on who to trust and how much to trust in. And that's with absolutely no outside interference. You know that the spirit says, I don't think this is a good idea. This is going to make you feel like that.
Yeah.
And spiritually we know this. So being obedient to the spirit first. You have to be obedient to your spirit, because if not, it's a longer road. It's definitely a longer road, and your spirit will let you know. And that's the trust in yourself. Trust yourself. Trust and believe in yourself that your spirit will guide you. That's that outer little angel
Yeah.
that's on your shoulder.
You got to knock the other one off, huh?
Yeah,
There's always another one on the other side, huh?
there's always the other side, but the other side requires no effort. That's the effortless side. To do something wrong is, hey, that's the easiest part. To give up on life itself, that is easy. But the spirit says do. And in the doing, that is action. And in order to take action, you can't be lazy. So it's time to move forward. And if the spirit says this is how you move, this is how you should move, most certainly.
So to really go towards those instincts for growth and goodness, and to maybe turn you back on some of those feelings that are also instincts to maybe defend yourself and get I think there are a lot of stories in the Bible about retribution, right? I mean, like this clan, this tribe coming to group, and
Yes.
I mean it's a common story in humanity, a common instinct. I think is to want to get that. I think we know that only leads to more hurt, right? More
Conflict.
conflict.
That's right. And that's what you don't want on the inside, and to look for the peaceful resolution inside of yourself and say conflict is a whole nother kind of energy. I don't want to give into that.
Yeah, when you were talking like about instincts and trust your spirit, like I'm just thinking of how socially intelligent we can be in Louisiana, because we fight so many obstacles. I mean, just on the top, incarceration rate in Louisiana, we're always top in the United States.
That's right.
Which is top in the world in incarceration rate. So you can say at times, Louisiana, we're the leaders in incarceration in the Western world. I mean, you can say that, but then like also, we're generally happy. Like we have amazing coping skills, and I think amazing social skills here to be able to deal with so much adversity, to still be happy. And like I'm just thinking like the amount of social situations you navigated through that freedom as a young man.
Yes.
Learning how to get out of a situation, when to fight, when to flee.
That's right. You better know the difference. You better know the difference. You better learn quick. You better learn quick, because some battles you will lose. Most battles you will lose.
Yeah.
But every battle you have a chance to choose.
Mm.
I can walk away from this.
Mm.
And that's less energy expelled on the wrong thing, as opposed to,
One thing I wrote about was like, I think like humor, a sense of humor has the ability to stop a bullet. Like, and that's like
I had to learn that so fast. And I had one example. I was uptown on Danielle Street, and I was talking to a young lady, and a gentleman rolled up on a bike, and he pulled out a gun about this big. It was like he was the Joker. And he just pulled his gun out, and he had it on his lap like this while he's on the bike, and he said, "Give it up." I said, "Hey, look, man, I ain't got nothing." And just put my hands up. He said, "Okay, walk away." I said, "Sure enough." And I just backed away from him, and he just eased off on his bike.
Yeah.
No humbug. And I was like, hey.
Right.
He did that. And I know even for people that don't have it, still get shot.
Right.
And
I think one thing that comes to mind when you explain that is like, I've seen a lot of videos of people confronting police, for example, and one thing that comes to mind is like, maybe this person who's confronting the police has been through a lot of trauma. I think once you go through a certain amount of trauma, sometimes you don't have that same fear. Like someone who's been severely traumatized might be like, you know what? I ain't backing down from this dude.
Right. Yeah. He's close enough. I'll grab the gun, or I'll tackle this guy. How dare he?
Right.
I ain't got it.
Yeah.
I ain't got it, and I don't want any trouble. And that's what I've learned because most robbers only just want to take your things, not your life. I learned early, this is a robbery, don't make it a homicide, which is weird, but I knew that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a victim. And I apologize that I don't have it to give to you, but I just don't. And this is not the time, sir. Thank you very much. I'll do what you say. I'll back up. And that's that.
Yeah.
I'll back away and allow you to make your peaceful exit in what could be a violent moment. So none of that. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
My ego wasn't even bruised. There's nothing to gain.
You told me your dad was in World War II, and I guess appreciated everything that he did, everything you saw that he did. I mean, I'm sure he saw a lot. Was he did he talk about his service?
He spoke on his service only briefly. He didn't give us any gut-wrenching details. He did let us know that the world is real, and he loved Germany. He had a love for Germany, and his thing came back to how he was treated when he got back, and he was like, "That's the thing. The war was easy compared to actually coming back here and being treated that way." And him being an uneducated black man, he said, "I had to learn to use my hands early on in life." And he was one of the best brick masons in New Orleans. He was a historical restoration guy.
Wow.
He worked his way with a third grade education. He worked his way through life like no other. It was graceful. And instead of him sharing the bad experiences, he only spoke about the good ones, or at least the bad ones that were funny, that had a funny ending. It's like, hey, this happened, and this was quite funny that it happened, but this was out of sheer survival. And how he traveled the United States as at the time they called them hobos, and how he would jump the train and go from city to city after he left the war. Just to explore the world. And that's what my father really left with me, just to explore was his thing. Explore and experience life, because people don't experience it from the grave.
Right.
This is what we have.
Like a curiosity, just an interest in why things are the way they are. But I mean, he was like a war hero, successful businessman, and not always respected. You would say
Not
always
always.
respected.
Not always respected. But he took it to the chin and he kept on rolling, because he knew that in order for us to see a better day, he had to put something else inside of us. We had to instill these things and these qualities and these values in us. Although we all have to go our separate ways. Some people call lead astray, or we have to go astray. No, we have to go and do those things that define our tomorrow. And that was the thing. Make your tomorrow better. Expect good things out of people.
Right.
Every day, expect something good to happen every single day. Expect that, and that will happen.
I'm just thinking that can be a hard lesson for a kid to understand. Like, that even though you're doing the right thing, even though you're making the right choices, still there are going to be some people who doubt you. Right? Like, you
That's
do the
right.
right thing, good things happen.
Right. And then on the then out of clear blue, other things happen.
Right.
And it's how you deal with that other thing that happens in life. That'll give you a better tomorrow. It's not all bad. It's not ever all bad. But sometimes we will go through the thing where the bully beats us up. How we get back from that? Well, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you, but I just choose not.
Yeah.
I won't choose violence this day.
Like, my concerns about how today we raise kids with trying to protect them from all forms of struggle and all forms of failure. But then, I mean, that's a part of success is you're going to fail. Every successful person has failed, and often failed gravely, right?
That's
and,
right.
And risen from that failure and been stronger in life. I mean, like, that it doesn't feel good to fail. I mean, it's a hard thing to understand. Is like this hurts, but that's okay. Like right? It's
That's right. You have to lose in order to gain something. You can't take it all in and hold it. You got to let go. And some people are going to take some things from you. You know, you're going to lose some things along the way. And that's friends, family members, homes, you know, whatever it is, you will lose that thing. But you have to expect something great to happen after that loss. You expect something great every single day. But loss is a part of life, you know, because if it all stayed, we'd be overcrowded for real. You know, if it was all one way, well, you know, life has peaks and valleys.
right.
You know, so how we operate in this lowland, you know, is going to determine how long or how well we'll, you know, dwell in the highlands.
Right.
You know, and then after the season is up, well, back to the valley we go. You know, but just know that there's a better day, but you have to lose. You have to shed that.
Right.
You know, even if a snake never sheds, what is he going to be? What will he be?
I think that shows like your courage and facing those, you know, I think I call them existential concerns, those concerns about living. Like that's hard for people to do. Like a lot of people, they just don't want to think about certain things, right? It's like a birthday, an anniversary, and you're just like, I don't want to think about it, but because it does hurt when you revisit the past. It does hurt when we see the passage of time, like a loved one's anniversary, something like that. We miss that person, we feel that hurt.
That's right.
But I think like that's a gift that you have to be able to sit in that pain and learn from it and help possibly others to grow from that as well. You know?
Yes, yes. It's that reflection on your pain is where your strength is, because sometimes we need that good hard last cry over that loss or whatever that is, and it hurts. You know, every single day I have my phantom pains to remind me, and I reflect like, oh, I had a leg.
So you feel like the pain in your ankle, for example, and your ankle's not even there. Possibly, is that correct?
That's right. The ankle, the knee, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel my knee. Mosquitoes still bite me here.
Wow. Still feel it, huh? Like,
That's right. My toes still hurt. The ankle is still crumbled. I still feel all of that. You know, I still have my clavicle, you know, and it's way out of place. And 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 it gives me a moment to say, hey, you still alive. You can feel this. You can feel this pain. So what you gonna do about it? I tell you what I'm gonna do about it. I'm gonna allow my chest to rise and fall every single day and know that I have an opportunity to make it better, or at least someone else's journey just a little, just to ease it just a little bit by telling you about my pain and reflecting on my pain, not to reflect on my pain to be sad or sorry about my pain, but to say, this pain was my lesson. And here, I'm going to share this with you just in case you come across the same lesson or have to let someone know how they can get over this hump of this pain.
right. No, I think that's helpful for me. You know, just going through struggles in my life to hear how you were able to cope with that. How your father, even though he's been gone for how many years?
He passed in '89.
That he's like still a guiding light for you, like his example of integrity and I think grit, right? Just he didn't give up, right?
He never gave up.
Never gave up.
He never gave up. That was his thing. He never gave up. You know, he never gave up. That man was 80 years old. He didn't give up. He kept walking, and he walked in it. You know, and he just knows. He knew. Well, tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
tomorrow. It's today. Yesterday already happened. So that's our imagination. It's gone. Tomorrow, because I have to keep looking ahead. I'm going to live today expecting my tomorrow. And that was the thing. Live today. Expect tomorrow. Not that I'm looking forward to it in such a way, but today, because tomorrow, I see you. See you later.
Yeah.
I'll be here to share, to grow, to learn. Because I heard someone say, you won't see a better day unless you make it through the night. And sometimes at night time pain can settle in. You got to keep going. And let's just keep going with a smile.
That is true. Like a lot of times at night, like our defenses are down, right? I mean, that's the time where anxieties come in, and we're tired from the day, and a lot of times, for me personally, that's been like, I need to go. I just need rest, right, or something like
That's
that.
right.
Like,
Sometimes you need a nap. Like, I just want to take a nap. I just need a break. I just need to exhale, please.
But knowing, like you said, like tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and fight again.
That's right. So get your rest.
My grandmother's experience during World War II. She was a war bride, and I guess kind of how they struggled and how it impacted her. The young people here today haven't had that experience or that secondhand experience of entire nation. Had to change their way of being, and
Right.
it really impacted our whole economy. And
I would just say this the human experience. You know, and knowing that there are differences. And we have to learn to tolerate other people's differences. And just that tolerance itself leads to a better life. He never spoke ill about just the presence of being at war, because it was a war, no doubt, and he was a sergeant, so he had to command some people, and he just like, I didn't come back with some friends, and that's life. I made new ones. I still remember those that I lost. I'm not going to share it. I'm not going to bother you with that.
Right.
Just know that I had good friends and I had to leave them. I had good men under me and I had to leave them.
As a kid, you needed to know a certain amount, but then also like he didn't want to share. He kept that pain for himself, maybe like a sacrifice.
That's right, because I believe that he knew you'll lose people as well, because that's the greater lesson. You will lose people, son. So I lost people, good friends. I had to make new ones. I couldn't stay to myself, and although we're born alone, we weren't made to live alone. Talk to somebody. Express your feelings with someone. Somebody you can trust. That's where that spiritual thing comes in. Can I trust them this much with this much?
Right.
And move on and continue to grow and to live. That's the whole thing. Live it fully every day. That's what life is. You have to live it fully every day.
I love that. Yeah.
If not, you've already lost. Because giving up is very easy. It requires no effort. And some people won't see tomorrow because...
Yeah. I think a lot of people get caught up on what people say they should be doing, and I think a lot of people maybe aren't in touch with their true selves, or maybe they just go through the motions, you might say. And an advantage of going through what you've been through is that you understand how precious life is, and you're not going to waste it, right?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Mindful meditation helps. That's the only moment you need to yourself is when you really meditate. You're pondering those things. Meditate. Breathe. The most simplest thing, breathe. You'll be surprised what a few good deep breaths will do for you in your day. Breathe.
It's important to remember, breathing in, breathe in the positivity, and breathe in positivity, breathe out the negativity.
That's right. No shallow breaths. Take a deep breath. They say when you're angry, take a deep breath. It works. The simplest of things.
And go for a walk, huh?
And go for a walk. However long that walk may be, you better take a walk and you enjoy the world outside.
Yeah.
Catch a few sun rays, no matter how hot. Just enough. Whatever you can tolerate. Have those sun rays come in. Have that breeze blow. Have those raindrops. Cleanse. Because all of it has a purpose and meaning. Take your time to get to know you. Know you. Know you. Know self.
Yeah, I believe in that.
Know yourself.
I try to live by that every day. It's hard though. So we definitely covered a lot. I appreciate you stopping
Yes.
to talk to me. What do you think? Anything we didn't cover? Anything that you want to say to anybody, or anything we left on the table?
Everything that needed to be covered was definitely covered.
Talking to you, I feel like this has helped me today. I think it's going to help other people that are going through struggles. Like everybody has struggles, right?
Everyone has struggles, and it's all tailored to fit them. Their struggle, our struggles are different, but I would like to dispel the myth of trust no one. That's a myth. God put us here with each other, for each other. So if you trusted no one, you'd be by yourself lonely, and you pretty much quit.
A lot of people are like that. A lot of people that's one of the biggest problems today is like social isolation.
Misery and exile. Self-exile.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Don't self-isolate. If you need help, get yourself some help. You need to talk to somebody. Allow your spirit to say, I can talk to this person.
Yeah.
Maybe not about everything, but this I need to talk to somebody about. Talk about it.
And today there's so many resources. There's even like a crisis line, like a 988 you can dial.
Yes.
And just, you can dial it and talk to someone. It's a free resource. They'll put you through to, someone who's trained to listen to what you're going through, and they'll offer you resources in the area and stuff like that. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Don't allow your ego and your pride to stop you from getting the help that you need. Ego and pride, the main killer of good people.
I think I've become more spiritual lately, and like going to church is a great lesson for that. To check my ego, right?
That's right.
At the door, humble myself. One of the advantages to going through struggles is that you become more spiritual, more understanding, more open to those different experiences, I would say.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was awesome, man. Yeah.
Yes. Man, Walt, this is
I'm glad you stopped, man.
This is it. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah,
and
man,
Jesus too.
I was going to ask you, you need a little Jesus in your life?
This has been wonderful, my man. Thank
Likewise, man.
Thank you.
I think a little bit more.